We have a $50 donation from Anonymous. They also don't say anything, but again, every single donation is so, so appreciated. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm getting word that we are all set up, so we're going to go ahead and go on over to the RPG Chick with Legend of Mana Dragon Percent.
Hi, good evening. I am the RPG Chick, and I will have Sylverfyre as my commentary tonight, so thank you, Syl, for joining me.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me on for commentary for this.
So this is going to be the Dragon Run. There are 3 storylines in Legend of Mana, but this will be one of them. It is the fastest of the 3 storyline routes. So before I get started, I am going to need to know which character won the bid war.
Absolutely. I'm just double checking real quick, but it is girl.
Awesome. I love the girl's aesthetic. So we're gonna start with a 2-handed sword. We're gonna make a couple of weapon switches throughout the course of the run. And we're also gonna choose a very specific portion of the map. And I'll talk a little bit later about why we're choosing specific parts of the map. All right, but I am ready to go here. I will count us down in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, every single storyline basically has its own portion of the map, which is optimal. Essentially, there are a couple of requirements that you need to complete in order to beat the game. So one of them is to have all 18 artifacts down. The other is essentially to finish one of the 3 storylines, whether it's Dragon, whether it's Fairy, or whether it's Jumi percent. In this case, of course, like I said, we're going to be doing the Dragon storyline. It is actually one of the most direct and straightforward storylines in the entire game, without a whole bunch of very arbitrary plot triggers. Now, keep in mind that every event that we do is not necessarily going to be tied to this. However, it's something that is necessary in order to unlock things we need, either for the artifact completion or to get to the Dragon storyline parts. And where things are placed on the map is also going to matter because, number one, certain artifacts can only be placed either near water or away from the water. And additionally, how far the artifact is from home is also going to affect how powerful the monsters are and what kind of EXP they give. So some of the later dungeons are actually going to be pretty close to the home base.
Yep, and that will make them easier. And that basically is like why we picked this particular area, because we have some water in some specific places and not water in other places, so that we can place everything the way we want to.
So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be setting a couple of specific skills, which is the lunge and the spin. So the way that you gain new abilities and new skills is essentially based upon, number one, the weapon that you have equipped, and number two, what skills you already have equipped as well. And essentially, this is optimized in order to get to, eventually, the Counter-Strike skill. So we pick up our first artifact there from the Sproutling, which is going to be the City of Domina. Again, it is a really specific placement. It's also placed in such a way that it allows us to not have to meander around the map a whole bunch as well. And if you keep your eye on the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to be able to see the mana tree slowly growing as we go through the quests and everything. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm sure Syl would be more than happy to read them to me.
Absolutely.
So we're going to actually be picking up our first companion in here, which is going to be Elazul. And Elazul is actually technically part of the Jumi storyline, but we're gonna do one of his quests anyway. And I'm also not going to misinput these things. Essentially, you can put the wrong inputs in, and it basically means you have to go running all around the town to fix what you messed up. But we get the next artifact, which is going to be the Mekiv Caves with the Jade Egg, and we're going to help Elazul save his friend Pearl. I also want to say that I greatly agree with some of the comments I see in chat. Yes, I think this game is super beautiful and the music is absolutely amazing.
The question in chat is about just which run we're doing. This is the Dragon run. Dragon %.
Yeah, if you played this casually, Dragon really is one of the most straightforward storylines in the game, mostly because the character actually tells you exactly where you need to go next. For Fairy, and at least for Fairy I know, because I do run that as well, but for Fairy, and I assume for Jumi as well, some of the plot triggers are a little bit more arbitrary. So as I go through these first couple of battles, number one, you cannot run from them. And you're also going to be hearing a lot of hunk and weird sound in the background. So essentially what I am doing is a power cancel move. So the square button is the more powerful attack. And what you're able to do is you can use a button that's not dedicated to a special technique and cancel out of that particular attack more quickly, and therefore get more power attacks off. I will also be doing a technique in a little bit known as a jump cancel, where instead of pressing the unassigned special technique button, it will be a power attack followed by a jump attack. And that essentially gives us an extra half attack. And Elazul is as useless as he ever is.
I've seen him attack things, I swear.
Yeah, sometimes he does. So we're almost coming up to the first boss here. So the way that bosses generally work is you either want to jump cancel or power cancel depending on the boss, and then you want to counter special techniques or STs. I'm also going to try to move this big Yeti off closer to the right-hand side. So essentially, when you're countering an ST, you're waiting for them to use their own special technique, and you'll see that indicated by them usually flashing colors. And then you want to time your ST so that, number one, you have the iframes from it, and so that you can hit them afterwards.
Yep.
Some of the timings are a little bit more difficult than others.
Yep, but that's basically the way that we avoid a lot of damage in these fights, and it helps us be able to do them under leveled, and especially as the game goes on, and also just helps us put more damage out instead of sitting there getting hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of those STs definitely do a heck of a lot of damage as we go on through this game. So we found Pearl. She's okay. Pearl is absolutely adorable. Elazul is a big jerk, though. But we're going to side with him just for the sake of less text. But Elazul's going to take Pearl, they're going to be on their merry way, and Pearl's going to give us some more artifacts as a thanks. So from a lot of these events, a lot of these quests, you basically get different artifacts.
I see someone in chat mentioning axe luck time. Yep, we're going to be looking for a weapon drop soon. We're hoping to get it quickly.
Yes, hopefully.
This is pretty much the major RNG portion of the run, because this weapon, this axe that we're getting is going to be substantially a substantial upgrade for now, and it will also help. I believe it also is like important to have an axe, so that we can learn some things that you learn on an axe.
Yep, it's true. There is a second weapon grind in this particular storyline, and get out of the way. I need that back. Okay. So there's one of two types of axes that we can get, either the Earth Splitter or the Black Elk. The Earth Splitter is a more powerful axe, but it causes you to move a little bit slower. The Black Elk is a little bit less powerful, but you can move a little bit faster. So we ended up with the Earth Splitter, which is the more powerful of the two weapons. I'm going to again change my skills now to defend and jump so that I can work my way towards getting Counter-Strike. First try Earth Splitter axe is really pretty good.
Yeah, that's quite good. We'll take a first drop. Like, it doesn't usually take that many, like, it's not that low of a chance, but it's low enough that you're very happily surprised by a first drop.
Yeah, it's nice, especially because there's much more RNG involved with the sword drop that we're gonna have to get in a few dungeons. All right, stop soft locking me, Mushroom. You're not funny. But with the axe in hand, we're actually gonna go back to Domina, and we're going to pick up our next companion and start a couple of more events. So if you have like a quick donation or two you want to read, this is a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I have a $10 donation from T-Tam. They say just tuning in, but looking forward to seeing all the runs. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, T-Tam. And also, we are now only $160 away from sparing Guinevere, who is my favorite character in Dark Souls. I believe in you, Twitch chat.
All right, so we actually ran into this companion as we headed up towards the tavern before. It was the bunny-looking dude right here, Nick. Nick is essentially a merchant, but he is a very greedy, very selfish merchant, and he asks us for our help in clearing the bandits from the road. Before we can do that, though, he's like, oh, I have some business here. I have to go talk to Tipo, so we're gonna go talk to her. And then, unlike some of the other storylines, we're actually gonna go do the Monster Corral event because we do need a third-party member to do one of the dungeons here in the Dragon storyline. So we don't really see Tipo after this in this particular storyline, but she is a very gullible teapot. She's Mrs. Potts if Mrs. Potts was super, super duper gullible. But yeah, Nick tries to charge her like 50,000 lucre for the wheel, and she of course is like, I don't have that kind of money. So he gives it to us, and it's another artifact, so we needed it anyway. It's all good. And now the most fun, going to catch a little monster. So
admittedly,
oh, I'm sorry,
when this
go ahead,
game, when playing this game casually, like way back when it came out, I admittedly never understood the monster breeding system in this game. Like, I tried to understand it and failed.
Yeah, it's definitely confusing for sure. There's a lot of different things that you can do in this game, crafting and magic and monster corrals, and a lot of them are kind of convoluted.
Kind of convoluted, kind of poorly explained. It's kind of one of the few things that I didn't like about this game, because I love so much about this game.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, and it's a shame because if you really understand, especially the how to forge weapons and stuff, you can literally one-shot bosses, and it's amazing. There is an all events category that only I think 2 people in the community actually run, but that includes, of course, crafting. So you do get the chance to actually do that kind of stuff in that particular category, but that's also like a 7 to 8 hour category. So all right, so we're going to take one more small detour before we go and help Nick clear the bandits from the highway. And for those of you who have played this game, it's Dud Bear time.
Dud?
As long as we get no gap, we're good. I love this city. This is one of my favorite cities in the game. So essentially what this quest particular boils down to is this is Monique. She is a lamp maker, and she has become the affection of a centaur named Gilbert, who is right here. Gilbert's kind of a jerk and a lovesick puppy. And he offers to sell the lamps that Monique has been unable to sell. But of course, Gilbert being Gilbert, pawns half of them off on us. And he's like, hey, can you sell these lamps? You can't leave her in distress. Go sell them. I mean, we could technically buy them ourselves, but we don't really have the lucre for that. So in order to sell the lamps, we essentially end up going to learn the Dud Bear language from the barkeep on the other side. And that's basically it.
And I see Twitch chat is absolutely communicating in Dud Bear language right now. And to that, I only have Gak to say.
So I'm going to be a little bit quiet here while I concentrate on not pressing the wrong buttons. So if you have a few donations, this is a good time.
I sure do. I have $50 from Lennox Play. They say, worthy cause, excellent runs. Legend of Mana and Valkyrie profile got me through time when I was in my teens. A penguin heart beats with yours. Thank you so much, Lennox Play. And I have a $10 donation from Air Angel. Shout out to all of the volunteers and staff behind the scenes. Y'all are amazing, and I'm so lucky to be part of this amazing community. Thank you so much, Air Angel. It is fantastic, and I am super, super excited to be part of it as well.
Okay, so we successfully pressed the right buttons and sold all 3 lamps. That last Dud Bear is actually a little bit harder to convince than the other 2. He's a very skeptical little Dud Bear. So of course, Gilbert is now bragging, oh, we sold all your lamps, and you know, we should go outside and talk about our love for each other, basically. Also, I love the fact that suddenly she pops over the counter and is a harpy. I heckin' love it. So they talk, basically they're standing there talking about their dreams, and Gilbert wants to take her away from the town and let the Dud Bears do the dirty work. And Monique is actually really happy to just chill and make her lamps. Like, she loves it. That's her dream. And Gilbert is very upset by this. And he's like, no, you're a princess. We should go out and see the world. And he suddenly realizes, oh, maybe we're not so good for each other.
Goodbye, Gilbert. We didn't actually love you.
Yeah, Gilbert's a big jerk. He eventually gets his comeuppance in one of the other storylines, but unfortunately not here. But yeah, so Monique is a little bit bummed. But we get the Dud Bears coming in, and they essentially tell her how much they really love her lamps, and so she gets very excited and she's very happy. Which is nice. It's a nice little ending to Gilbert being a gigantic jerk. There is a community member, I believe it's Sylverfyre, that calls that the Dud Bear rap because it's just a lot of dubs and duds. All right, so now we're gonna stop side questing and we're finally gonna deal with what Nick wants us to deal with.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
We're gonna do some business as unusual. Or...
Yup. So we're gonna put down the trembling spoon because we're gonna need that pretty soon. And then we'll go put down the wheel that he gave us. So here on the road, now that we're actually going to be going back into battle, and we equipped 2 different abilities once we got the axe into our possession, we're going to learn, number 1, some more STs, and then counterattack here, and eventually counter-strike down the road. There is one other small mechanic, which I haven't really talked about, which is the wiggle walk. You'll see me running a little bit faster than usual from time to time, and it's like, hey, you know, diagonals are a little bit faster than just moving straight forward or back. So by essentially wiggling the analog stick back and forth as we go in one direction, it allows us to run a little bit faster than you normally would. Also, fun fact that I learned the last time I did this, all of the Rabbites that you fight are actually white Rabbites. And the only one that is yellow, like they are in Secret of Mana, is the one that you get in your farm from that initial monster egg.
I thought that the one on the loading screen counts. Does it count?
It kind of counts.
Or maybe that's the same Rabbite.
It is pretty cute, so I'd like to count it twice.
Okay.
Hi, Diana. Bye, Diana. So Deanna is technically a fairy storyline helper, but we're not going to be seeing her again here. And it's a shame because I like Deanna. She is cute cat. You know,
These archers are a little obnoxious, unfortunately.
Nick is also not being super duper helpful.
Oh look, I think he actually attacked an enemy there.
He did. I'm shocked.
One thing that is a little weird is those like blue crystals are basically XP. So you have to loot the XP, and like you don't usually see that. And that can actually be really inconvenient at times because like, yeah, you have a few moments at the end of combat to pick it up, but like, you know, you can easily get shortchanged some if you're not careful. And I don't think that's usually a problem in the speedrun. But it's certainly something that you have to consider a little bit.
Yeah, you
to like
you
pick
would
it up without like using a lot of time.
You
Also,
would definitely like to have a decent amount of XP by the time you get to the Mana Goddess.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna come up here to the bandits. Their leader is actually going to be a small blast from the past from Secret of Mana. And you're gonna get Legend of Mana's version of the Mantis Ant.
He looks pretty badass here, I have to admit.
It is a
Nico's
really good
like
sprite
actually
design.
using a jawbreaker here.
And missing completely.
Yeah, I mean, like, he tried. Not very hard, but...
The other thing is, your companions can absolutely steal your experience crystals. And for somebody that is not really going to stay in your party for very long, like Nick, it's not fun. So Nick tells us he wants to make the world happy and we should smile. Go away, Nick. Nobody likes you. Thank you.
We're working on rebuilding the world right now. Can we maybe do that and then think about smiling over it.
So we're going to put a few arbitrary artifacts down. We're not really going to be going into them, but again, we need them for artifact totals, and it will lead us closer back to where we need to go next, which is actually back into Lumina. So once I put the medallion down, we're going to go pick up one of our permanent companions.
Yeah, we're basically just putting them down now because it gives us some, like, we have some spots that are kind of out of the way.
Yeah, you really don't want to have to go all over the map to put the artifacts down. So here is the reason, again, why we did the Monster Corral quest, and that is because we need to pick up another companion who's going to stay with us all the way until the end, and that is the evil goblin Guri, and Guri is in the back of Lumina here. Guri is a goblin who wants to practice his evil doings and asks us to take him with us, so we agree. And there's actually a really good reason that we choose Guri over other possible companions that we could get. So when you're in battle, there are sometimes arcs of lightning between crystals of the different characters, depending on how close they are to each other. And with Guri, if Guri is in range, and the lightning arcs between you, you actually get, I believe it's a 50% increase to your attack power, which is pretty substantial. The only problem is Guri's AI is kind of stupid.
I mean, none of the partners' AI is, like, very amazing, but Guri's is especially not predisposed to being aggressive.
Yeah. And sometimes he does things I really wish he wouldn't, like knocking monsters away from me when I'm trying to hit them.
Here we have the first of the Dragoons.
Oops. I overmash. It's all good.
Oops. At least he doesn't say everything again before asking if you understand or not.
It's true. The penalty for wrong choices in this particular run are far less severe than they are in some of the other ones.
Except for that one at the very beginning.
Yes. Because it really is a monumental pain in the butt to go find Elazul elsewhere in the town. So Lark the Dragoon essentially tells us, oh, you know, I'd like you to go and meet my Lord Draconis, because he basically needs our help with some stuff. But in order to do that, we need to go see Olban first, who is one of the 7 wisdoms. And Olban basically needs to give us the permission for something called the Baptism of Fire. And what the Baptism of Fire is going to do is it's going to allow us to go deeper into the underworld. So here is Olban himself. Very, very unique sprite there. But yeah, essentially every one of the Dragoons has their own master. Draconis is Lark's. There are going to be some of the other ones that we're going to run into as well as we go through the Dragon storyline. So this Shadow, this candy-striped little underworldling, warps us to the baptismal chamber, and then this one up here will perform the baptism of flame so that we can make our way down to the bottom of the underworld. So we do have a minute or so if you have some donations, because I'm just going to be making my way down to the bottom of heck.
I sure do. I have a $25 donation from Vagant0. They say, hey RPGC, lurked through more than a few of your couple practice runs of this. Can't wait to see you crush it tonight. Thank you so much for the donation. I have a $25 anonymous donation, $25 donation from Anonymous. $5 donation train. Come on, people, support this great cause. Honk, orb, hype, etc. Smiley face. I have a $10 donation from Arcane. Hey folks, much love. Let's shoot for a world record on making a better world. Speedrun. I agree. Thank you so much for your donations. Also, we are only $95 away from sparing Guinevere in Dark Souls. I really would love to see this happen, and I super believe that we can do it.
You heard the lady chat. Let's make it happen. All right, so here, this is going to be a very RNG fight. This is Hitodama. Hitodama is a monumental pain in the butt because essentially Hitodama can vanish and appear whenever it feels like it, and there it goes right at the beginning of the fight. So anytime that it disappears, obviously, you can't hit it. So we are going to hope that Hitodama wants to stick around, but apparently it does not. Come on, Hitodama, let's go. I'm being a jerk.
Alright, so he's actually gonna sit here and get hit a few times.
So you can see the lightning arcing between my crystal and Gori's crystal, so that means anytime that takes effect, there is a 50% increase in my attack power, which is really, really nice, especially for this annoying little spirit here. And Hitodama is just not going to play nice today, which is very sad. Why must you do this to me, Hitodama? Oh, it's going to cast a special technique. Even better. Let's see if I can get a... Yep, there we go. Okay, got my own counter ST. Hitodama is down.
And for those of you who weren't here on the first boss fight, basically what RPGC is doing there is hitting her own special technique, like right as the boss is about to resolve. And it's a fairly tight window, but it allows you to both avoid the damage and instead of sitting there getting knocked back by the damage, attack the boss instead. So, pretty important technique for the speedrun.
Yeah, definitely. So here we have Draconis. Draconis is Lark's master, and he asks for our help, and he says, well, you kind of have to, because since you did the baptism of flame, if you tried to stay out of the underworld for too long, you're just going to fade away into nothingness. But if you help me, then I'll fix it. Already, this guy sounds pretty sus. But basically, our job is from here on out to go find the other dragons and their monostones, and to have Lark take the energy from them. We're going to be heading into Jerkbird territory next.
Yeah, this is an RPG. It has birds in it. Those birds are jerks. That's how that works.
I love the little animations that come with the artifacts. They're so good.
They're so good. The north peaks are to the south. Don't worry about it.
It's all good. It's all good. So we're actually going to encounter another dragoon on our way in here. And she's going to surprise attack us. Lark can sense her, but we cannot. So that is another dragoon. Her name is Sierra. And I just want to say she's awesome. But for now, we fended her off, and we're going to make our way into the mountains. So there are essentially bird dragoons here, and they work for the dragon named Archivator. Archivator, being the dragon of birds, is also a jerk. And we'll talk more about that fight when we get a little bit closer. But for now, we're just going to make our way through here. So we have some time for some more donations, if there are any.
Absolutely. And actually, I just wanted to say that if you want to see more games, don't forget to donate. Our bonus games are on a milestone system. So when we hit $10,000 of total donations, bonus game 2 is going to unlock. And we're going to get a nice contrast of Knights of the Old Republic 2 any percent after watching Knights of the Old Republic 1 100%. And when we hit 15,000, bonus game 3 will unlock and we'll get to watch Super Mario Sunshine, which I am super, super excited for. It's such a fun little game.
It is very upbeat too.
Yeah, it's super feel good. I really, really like it.
So these are the ones in green are Archivator's Dragoons. They're, as I said, they're birds. They're jerks. The ones in blue are kind of lower minions. But Lark says, nobody's going to stand in my way, so we're going to make our way up the mountain. So the mountain has a little bit of a gimmick behind it. There is essentially a barrier towards the top of the mountain that we are going to have to dispel before we can get to the top. And the barrier is actually set off by those 3 green bird dragoons. Which is why I know that they're jerks, because you do have to fight them to get through the mountain. Also, you probably have been noticing some of the status effects. So the little clouds above your head are basically like the silence spell from Secret of Mana, where it's confusion. So left is right and up is down, kind of a thing. There's also the green ones that you saw a couple of screens earlier, which is basically a stun. So yeah, there are still status elements in this game, but there are no items in battle. So you kind of just have to wait for them to wear off. Ooh, no, I don't want to get caught in that. Darn it, Lark. You were doing so well.
Birds are jerks.
So yeah, we haven't really seen any magic up until just now. But the birds do have Sylphid magic. Stop hitting the bird the other way, please. I'm trying to hit him over here. But yeah, so the birds all have Sylphid magic, all wind magic, which is fairly detrimental because it can, at least that one, the whirlwind one, can stun lock you. Gori is also super useless in these fights. So is Lark when he decides he wants to push stuff in the opposite direction. So 1 bird is down, we've got 2 more to go. Use our ST there to kind of clear this map out a little bit more quickly. Those shriekers are very obnoxious, and they can definitely stun lock you if you're not careful.
Or even just cost you a little bit of time from a moment of stun lock.
Yeah, they can also confuse you as well, so it's a pain.
More Sylphid magic, just what we wanted to see. Okay, well, at least this one didn't hit us.
Oh heck, that one did.
Uh-oh.
I will say there is a bonus. If for some reason you do happen to die during a fight, it's kind of like Mystic Quest. Basically, you can just restart the fight as if nothing happened. So safety saving is actually not needed, and it makes the run very, very safe, which is really nice.
We have a question in chat asking us if we have bird facts.
Bird facts. Apparently the birds here in Reno get super drunk off the fruits that are ripening and over-ripening on the trees, and then fly into windows accidentally. Because a lot of them have been doing that lately. And this is my first fallout here. I wasn't expecting that, so I was kind of scared when I heard random crashes into my window.
Can I pop in for a quick second?
Please.
we have hit the Spare Guinevere incentive.
Nice.
Thank you all so much. Hooray!
That's awesome. I'm glad we hit that incentive. Way to go, chat. You're awesome. So we do have one more bird to go. We're actually going to pass by the barrier on our way to the last bird. It is extremely important that you do not touch the barrier before you have defeated the last bird, otherwise it will send you right back to the bird village. We're also going to be using Counter-Strike here for the first time. So the way Counter-Strike works, essentially the weapon is put up in front of you to block. And when the enemy goes to hit you, you literally Counter-Strike them. And it does a lot of damage. And we will be utilizing that in a couple of places during this run. But we're going to destroy, hopefully, the last bird. So I am trying to come around to the right-hand side of the bird. I'm basically, if you've noticed by now, trying to hit it to the left side of the screen, or basically to whichever side of the screen I'm going to head towards after the fight. Like, it's always good to push any of the enemies off into a corner, because obviously they're less able to move, but it also saves you a little bit of walking time. These dudes do not want to hit me. What the heck? Lark is a relatively useful partner, I do have to say, which is good because he is with you for a majority of this run. So all three birds have been defeated, the barrier can finally be lowered, and we can make our way towards the top of the mountain. At some point, we're actually going to be in... the bluebirds, the underlings, are going to try to stop us, but they're just too weak. Lark is very powerful, and he just utterly destroys them. So we do have a bit before we get to the boss, and I'm just going to be making my way up. So if you got anything for me, Nichole, it's a good time.
I sure do. I have a $5 donation from Enigma Sylverfyre. They say someone said a $5 donation trade. All aboard, choo-choo. And I also have a $5 donation from Anonymous that says, I hear $5 train, I board $5 train. And also, now that we have hit that incentive for Guinevere, we have a save or kill the robots for Death Squared open. So at the end of the Death Squared run, we can choose whether or to kill robots. Right now, it's pretty heavily in the lead with $303. Save is at $40. So if you want to see them killed, go ahead and donate towards killed, or saved, donate towards saved, and we will do one or the other.
So we are just a couple of fights away from the top of the mountain, which is good. Counter-Strike worked nicely on both of those. I really wish that those big guys would drop more crystals, because they drop a heck of a lot of experience, and I would like it, please.
Yeah, that's another disadvantage of this kind of odd XP as a drop system, is that if something drops an item, it doesn't drop any XP at all. And
this is the Archivator fight. So the reason why Archivator is such a big pain in the butt, and there is so much RNG, essentially boils down to how many iframes Archivator actually has. So Archivator can do two things. It can fly, and it can cast a special technique, both of which, and you can probably hear like the pinging sounds, give it iframes and make it completely invincible. And that's 2 flights already. And now he's going to cast an ST and make me completely miserable. Too soon on my ST, but that's okay. Wow, he's just going right into another ST. Archivator is proving why anything having to do with birds is a jerk. I do also...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I do also want to say that if your companions do die during the course of the fight, they can resurrect. It does take a bit of time, though.
We do have a question in chat about, other than weapons, do spoils matter at all? Casually, there's crafting. I don't believe that there's anything other than a couple weapon drops that the speedrun cares about.
Yeah, for the sake of the speed, at least for this one, what we get is relatively unimportant outside of the axe drop and the
Brave Blade.
Yeah. Okay, I'm tired of your antics, Archivator. But if you notice, since Guri is down, like that little health bar is filling up with silver. Once it reaches the full portion, the character will revive. So if you can stave off the boss, you're okay. But Archivator was not very nice today. He often is not, so I'm kind of used to it. But here is the first of the monostones, the 3 monostones, because there are 3 other dragons. Lark is going to take its power to bring back to Draconis, and we're going to pick up our next artifact. And here is basically why this particular storyline is usually the one that's found by people and completed. Lark gives you everything you need to basically keep going forward and tells you, hey, this is next. And like I said, it doesn't happen with a lot of the other storylines. Some of the events, artifacts need to be there for them to be unlocked. Mana needs to be there for them to be unlocked. Timing needs to be there for them to be available. So there's a lot of RNG that goes into actually playing this casually as well.
RNG, or just like game mechanics that are not well communicated.
Yeah, that's also true. So, even though we're told to go here next, there is a little bit of a side quest here with these students. The student says, hey, I'm trying to make this reagent. Can you go gather the ingredients for me? So no matter what you do, you can either do what I just did, which is go in and come back out, and the student tells you again, please bring me the reagents, or you can talk to 3 random NPCs, but you cannot complete it the first time, no matter what you do, and it's really frustrating. But there are 3 specific NPCs you need to talk to on the second screen. The blue kid up top, and then the 2 flowerlings on the bottom that I spoke to in order to get the mixture correct. But basically that's all this is. You're just helping out on a field trip. Super quick, super simple. And that'll allow us to go back in here and do what we actually came to do, which is find the next dragon, Jajara. So this dungeon is also why we needed Guri, or at least some third-party member. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, you could have literally taken the Rabbite from the beginning of the game. But there are switches in the beginning of the Bone Dungeon, and without a third-party member, you cannot activate them. So the kids tell us that they've been hearing voices coming from the dungeon, and it's rumored that the Dragon of Knowledge lives there, so we're gonna go check it out. And we get one of the coolest enemy entrances in the game. So this is the Guardian of the dungeon. He tells us to go away, but no, we're not interested in that. We need to get in there. So we're gonna have to fight him. And this dude is kind of like a mech knight, I guess. He can do rocket punches and all kinds of weird stuff. But we have some nice sync going on with Guri, except that he is being a big jerk. But that's all right. So that 50% increase works with whoever synergizes with Guri. So even if it's Lark, then Lark gains the benefit of the extra attack boost. So those are your 3 switches. You come in here without 3 party members, and nothing happens. But essentially, you've set off a trap, and all of our party members are suddenly gone. So this leads us close to the next RNG portion of this run, which is to get the Brave Blade, and it comes from these 2 swords, which are also very annoying. They have a chance to drop Throat Slitter or Brave Blades, and we don't want to see Throat Slitters, we want to see Brave Blades. Oh.
Wow! Wow!
That was a
casually
zero drop.
first sword brave blade.
Hi, I'm the RPG chick and I'm sometimes lucky. That is one of the worst RNG sections. So,
Yep.
Wow, holy shnikey. I mean, technically, you have no choice. You have to pass through that room twice because we're going to come in here and get Guri, and then we're going to have to go back out to the middle section to go to the other floors.
Yeah, so it's essentially like, as long as it's in the first 2 rooms, then it's more or less RNG neutral. But, sometimes it doesn't even drop then, and we really need that Brave Blade. There's not really a backup other than just farm a Brave Blade.
Yeah, technically, you can get better weapons when the towns are placed a little bit further from the home area. That's actually used in the Fairy Run, where towards the end of the run we get the Gold Blade instead of farming for a second blade. But yeah, that was super duper lucky. So we ride up to the 3rd floor and we encounter Sierra, who's trying to tell us that Draconis is evil, but we tell her, well, we still know what's going on, but we're trying to help Lark. And to be honest, we're also trying to help ourselves. Sierra is kind of a butt to fight. She is very fast, and we're going to try to just basically keep counter-striking her, which works relatively nicely. The only problem is sometimes Sierra dances around a lot instead of attacking, which is a little time-consuming.
Yeah, but she had like, what, 4 or 5 HP bars there, and just the counter-strike just slices away an entire HP bar and makes that fight a lot quicker and easier as long as she cooperates and hits you so that you can counter-strike.
Yes, instead of dancing around like, Sierra, you're a beautiful dancer, hun, but we need you to attack. So we're gonna get Lark back into our party. He reveals to us that Sierra is actually his sister, and that he's ashamed of himself for falling for her trap. But that's okay, because we're still gonna take him with us and go find Jajara. So one more trip back into the elevator, back to the top floor. And then we're gonna have kind of like a mini boss rush. So we're gonna end up with 30 boss fights back to back to back. They're not terribly awful. The first one is going to be the Deathbringer, and the Deathbringer is kind of neat because it gives me super duper Dark Lich vibes from Secret of Mana. And it's a pretty easy, straightforward fight as well. And I believe Deathbringer is Jajara's Dragoon. At least I think he is. Guri, you know, if you want to come over here, hun, I would really like the extra attack boost. Really? You're gonna cast a last second ST? You suck.
Oh, that's an awkward way to, like, lose a bunch of time at the end of the fight there. It's just like, hang on, before I die, let me use this last ability.
It's not even an attack ST anyway.
No.
But with Deathbringer down, we are going to go encounter the next dragon, which is the Bone Dragon Jajara. And Jajara actually has two forms, and I'm going to run around here in circles to bring Guri a little bit closer, because there are a couple of instances in this run where you have to wait for Guri to walk over to where you want him to walk. And Guri is very slow.
Yeah, even there you saw kind of a few steps that he had to take, and it was like, you have to move like one character width and it took you like 4 seconds. So just imagine if you didn't do that setup where you walk in circles a bit, how long that could take.
What are you doing, Jajara? I think I'm too low for that. Oh, he blocked. That's great. Thanks, Jajara.
I'm just here to appreciate all of the, like, various dragon artwork in this game.
It is pretty fantastic. And we still haven't come to the prettiest of the dragons yet. Alright, I had the synergy going with Guri. That lasted about a whole 2 seconds. Alright, stay there, Guri, don't move. Alright, so that's phase 1. Jajara is now going to transform, randomly pick up those 2 statues that dropped, and fight us a second time. I still don't know why Jajara picks up those 2 statues, to BH. Thankfully, after each battle, if somebody is dead, they're automatically resurrected, and you automatically get all of your HP back. It is kinda nice.
I don't know, Jajara's just like picking up their room.
Yeah, I really don't understand that. It's probably one thing I will never understand about this fight. But we landed a nice lunging arc on him, and lunging arc is kind of a nice ST. It actually has 2 different attacks, so if you miss with the first one, you can still technically hit with the second.
Wow, that was a really fast phase 2.
Yeah, I got lucky. He didn't do too many STs. So with Jajara dead, we're able to go and get the next Mana Stone. And this is what I mean by waiting for Guri, and there is nothing we can literally do about this except watch him meander. And there's still going to be, I think, 2 more places where we have to wait for Guri. So Lark is trying to play this off by saying, like, oh, Jajara was greedy to keep all of this power and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he actually believes what he is saying or not, but he gives us the next artifact, and we're going to go on to the last of the other dragon lairs, and we're going to meet the prettiest and bestest, most fluffy dragon ever.
Fluffy dragons.
Heck yeah, fluffy dragons is awesome dragons. So this is the territory of Vidis, the white dragon. This is also Sierra's lead dragon, so we're going to be encountering her there as well. Lark is telling us essentially that because of the energy in the air, he can't really pick up on their energies, but he can still scent her. But he asks us to lead the way anyway, and lets us know if we're going in the right direction or not, which is really nice if you're lost. I will do my best not to get lost, though, chat. So as I go through the forest, this is a good time for some donations.
Absolutely. I have a $50 donation from Citrus. Have to donate for one of my favorite games of all time, Legend of Mana. This game's music and art direction are timeless and fantastic. Good luck to all the runners this week. Thank you so much, Citrus. It is such a pretty game. We have a $25 donation from Making Mary. My spouse is a third grade teacher and are always fighting for their students to get an equitable education. Keep on being you and doing what you do. Thank you so much, Making Mary.
Please don't be a jerk, tree. Okay, good. Sometimes the rabbite is a bigger jerk than the tree. I always feel bad killing the rabites, though. I love rabites. So we are almost to Vidis. So basically what's going to happen once we get there, Vidis does not want the two siblings to fight with each other, and she's rather going to give Lark exactly what he wants. Which is the last of the 3 mana stones. And you're gonna see now how adorable and fluffy Vidis actually is. Sierra is, of course, ready to fight us, but Vidis calms her down and understands exactly why Lark is here, and just tells Lark, please just go to the Mana Stone, take what you need to take, do what you need to do. I don't want the siblings to fight with each other. But Sierra is very rambunctious.
Look at this absolute fluff of a dragon.
It's so pretty, I love her. She's such a pretty dragon. So this is the first time that Lark actually hints that he's got a different plan in mind, and he's going to somehow not let Draconis do what he wants to do. He doesn't really say more than that, but Vidis asks us to stay and wants to test our abilities, so we're going to have to fight Vidis and Sierra. So this fight can be a little touch and go.
Yeah, we want to try to ignore Sierra, but not actually practical.
Yeah, you can do a couple of things, one of which is to let Guri be a meat shield while you deal with Vidis, because Vidis is pretty stationary. She really doesn't move. And Guri's already dead.
I'd love to just like counterattack or
This is a very trepidatious fight. And I got caught again by Vidis's fire. Heck.
yeah.
Like
Just
ideally,
like last time Sierra, last time we didn't really see Sierra dancing around a lot like this, but this is what we meant by that.
ideally you want to do what I just did there, which is counter both Sierra and Vidis at the same time. So so I'm gonna ignore Sierra for a little bit. I'm gonna let Guri be a meat shield, and I'm just gonna get rid of Vidis. Because Vidis is not cooperating, and neither is Sierra. And I really would prefer not to have to restart the fight. Come on, Sierra. Stop dancing and hit me!
Yeah, this is the trying to take advantage of the counter-strike, but Sierra's like, I know what you're doing.
The problem is like I would let the counter-strike down and just attack her, but as soon as I do that, I guarantee you she'd be like, oh, hey, you're open, pal.
Oh yeah, she is fast.
So now, with all of the dragons defeated and all of their monastones taken, we're going to go back to the underworld because, hey, Draconis owes us our life back. We're also going to drop some coral on the way because we're going to come back here later for one of my favorite little side quests.
Yep. And this is actually that spot like has to be next to water, so that's kind of going back to like why we picked this particular area of the map, because we wanted to be able to put that beach area there. Is it possible to permanently miss areas in the game with bad artifact placements?
Absolutely.
It definitely is. Especially since there's little communication ahead of time about like, before you're actually trying to place something, like there's nothing that's going to tell you what kind of location placements you're going to need to be concerned about.
So we've picked ourselves up a new companion in Sierra. Sierra is one of my absolute favorite companions. She is a really, really helpful fighter, actually. She's also really cool in terms of her aesthetic. The only other companion I like maybe more than Sierra is Black Pearl, because Black Pearl in the Jumi storyline is really heckin' cool. But Sierra basically implores us to help her. You know, please take me to the bottom of the underworld. I want to help my brother. So we agree, because, well, we're going that way anyway. And we're going to take her down to the bottom of the underworld. So as we traverse down the underworld, if you have anything you would like to say, Nichole, it is a really good time because it's going to take us a few minutes.
Absolutely. I do. I have a $25 anonymous donation that says, let's break some records, y'all. Thank you so much for your donation. I also have a $25 donation from Dan F. They say, can't wait to see all the amazing runs this week. You all rock. You rock. Thank you so much for the donation, Dana. I have a $100 donation from Cognos. They don't leave a message, but thank you so much for the donation. It is super, super appreciated. And also, it's worth noting we have an incentive open for the Glitch exhibition for Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. If Matt Burke will showcase a variety of glitches following the Castlevania Order of Ecclesia run. Right now, we are at $50, and we only need $2,000 to hit that. $1,950 is absolutely nothing for Twitch chat. I know we can do it, so let's go ahead and get those donations in to see that glitch exhibition.
So this is essentially where we fought Hitodama the first time we were down here, but now we really need to go see Draconis. So we're going to have to traverse even into the further depths of the underworld. It's not too much deeper, thankfully, and we're eventually going to get a shadow to warp us a little bit further down. Here we go. To the bottom of the underworld with you. It is very frustrating that both the brother and the sister want to make sure that you're ready before you go fight the battles. It's doubly annoying that the yes response is the second response and not the first response. especially because in the fairy storyline, the first response is usually the yes response. So it's a little bit of a brain flip sometimes. But we've come across Lark and Draconis while waiting for Guri to meander his way over. And Lark instantly tries to tell Sierra, is like, no, I know that Draconis was just trying to use me, but I had an idea too, because he was going to fight Draconis and win and then free himself, basically. But Draconis, being the evil dude that he is, he's too powerful for any of that, and he's transforming Lark into a hideous mecha creature. I don't know why it's a mecha creature, or why it's going to look like a horse mecha creature, but question mark? But yeah, here's your funky centaur horse creature. I mean, it's cool, but it's an odd thing for Draconis to transform Lark into, because Lark is neither a centaur or a horse.
With guns that come out of its legs for some reason. The start of that fight actually went really well. Like, we had a lot of synchro from both of our companions there.
Yeah, I forget what Sierra's sync actually does. But yes, we definitely had some nice sync up from Guri at the beginning of the fight. And here is one of the few times during the course of the game you're actually going to get to see the artifact change in the overworld map, and it is pretty neat. But unfortunately, Lark is gone. Draconis has devoured his soul and will now rise again to destroy everything.
By the way, you were wondering what Sierra's synchro was. Unfortunately, it's not very useful here. It's a damage mitigation from dragons, which, like, casually, sure, that's great. It doesn't make us do more damage. It doesn't really matter.
Considering how late into the dragon run you actually get her, wow, that is really useless.
I mean, like, it's pretty relevant for boss fights like that are fairly late game boss fights, I would say, casually.
I guess so. Plus, I mean, we do still have a few dragons that we have to fight. There's going to be a couple of instances coming up here in this tower where we're going to have to beat some monsters to unlock other areas. And of course, Draconis himself is a gigantic, very awesome looking red dragon. So you get that really cool transformation sequence. You get the gorgeous painted background of the tower. And you find out that Vidis has been protecting us, or at least Vidis' spirit has been protecting us while this happened. And Vidis is trying to warn us, of course, that it's going to be dangerous to go inside. But Sierra is having none of that, and she wants to go and take care of Draconis once and for all. So she asks us to fight together. This is the only hacking time in the entire Dragon storyline that, yes, is the first answer choice. So this tower is a very large maze. It's full of traps. It's full of various directions that you can take. And some of the traps you actually have to fall into in order to progress to other areas a little bit more quickly. At first, though, it's basically just going to be a bit of traversing some enemy encounters to go through these hacking, annoying swords again. So even though this area is literally right above the home base, because it is an end storyline dungeon, the monsters are a little bit stronger here than they were in the underworld portion. So they'll have a little bit more HP, they will do a little bit more damage, and they'll give you a little bit more experience.
But yeah, this is it. We are in the end game here.
At least for the dragon storyline, yes.
Yeah.
It's not the last dungeon, but
it is not the final dungeon.
Yeah, but
like,
it is definitely
we're rapidly approaching the end of the run, with like a couple more boss fights, and like there'll be a little side quest wrap up to get the actual end game, the actual final dungeon.
Yeah, I have to say, as somebody who does also run fairy storyline, I like the music in the dungeon for the end of that particular storyline better. Leucemia is incredible, and the music is just gorgeous. So there's our first trap door. It's going to lead us close to the first actual switch that we have to go hit. Hitting the switches will basically stop some of the trap doors from opening so that we can progress further into the tower. And it is actually going to be like a dragon mini boss, so Sierra's ability will actually come in handy if we can use it. Hey, don't block me, that's not cool. So I'm gonna try to do with this thing kind of what I did with the birds. I'm gonna try to push it off to the side and hope that Sierra doesn't push it the other way. Sierra, stop pushing it the other way. That was some really good synergy with Guri there.
Yeah, he behaved very helpfully there in just kind of standing around next to you, which is really all you want out of him.
Yeah, he doesn't have to attack or anything. He can literally dance in circles. I just wanted to stand next to me. That's all. He just needs to be close by. And that's really all he's good for anyway, because I think it would take quite a lot of experience and levels to get Guri to a point where he does some considerable damage. So his little axe throws are not very helpful anyway.
No, I was surprised he did one at all there. But yeah, that like plus 50% damage is really just like, that's what he's there for.
Oh yeah, for sure. So here is our second pitfall. It's going to take us down into the basement, where it's going to take us into the next dragon fight. So at the end of this fight, we want Guri to be as far to the right of the screen as possible, because this is another instance of Guri takes 5 years to waddle across the screen. So I'm going to knock...
like kind of herd Guri over there by like fighting over there.
And he's not going to cooperate, but at least by having us fight over here, Guri is a little bit more likely to waltz over here.
This actually worked out pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guri's like mostly there.
Yeah, Guri came pretty far, which was really nice. So that is the second of the switches. There is going to be one more when we get upstairs. And I'm going to do an AoE ST because these swords are absolutely obnoxious. Are you serious? You missed a sword? How dare you?
You were saying how obnoxious they were.
That's true, I did.
You challenged the sword, and the sword challenged back.
This is also true.
Challenging.
If you have some donations, we do have some time before we get to the next boss here.
Sure thing. I actually have a $250 anonymous donation. They don't say anything, but wow, thank you so much.
Heck yeah, that's an awesome donation.
Wow, thank you very much.
Also, we have save for the kill versus save up to 240, but kill is now up to 553, so that looks like it's still in the lead.
Wow. That is definitely a pretty sizable lead there. Oh, I lost a coin. Some of the problems with some of the scenery is it obscures your view a little bit. So if something rolls behind a pillar or a tree, sometimes you don't realize that it's there. All right, but here we're going to come up on Lark 2.0. He is exactly the same as he was the first time, except multicolored and prettier. And I'm okay with this.
Yeah. He got dressed up nicely for this fight. We gave him some time since the last one to
It's always a shame when I can't do fairy percent, because the Boreal Hound, which is a rainbow doggo, is I think one of the prettiest bosses in this entire game.
That fight went really cleanly too.
Yeah, that fight is not too bad, but we are gonna go up a few more floors and we're gonna come up to Draconis himself pretty soon, so... Just one fight out here. Sierra, you're wasting your ST, honey. So, as we're going into Draconis is the evil dude who is trying to take over and destroy everything. And he tells us about how he has devoured the souls of the other dragons and of Lark and basically anybody that's gotten in his way.
You mean that Lark was tricked?
I know, right?
Wow.
But Sierra, being Sierra, of course, vows vengeance and says we're going to defeat you if you don't return Lark and the other dragons. So this fight is a little wonky because Draconis' hitbox is a little wonky. Technically, there are two places where you can hit Draconis, which is the head and the thigh, which is very odd. And it's hard to get that sometimes. Draconis has a couple of very, very annoying attacks. Those wind blades is one. His two main STs are the fire breath here, or he will chow down on you like a snack. Neither of which
dragon techniques.
Yeah, it's not pleasant either way, though. He does have a third ST where he will fly high up into the air and come crashing down and do some AoE damage. And I am really missing his hitbox here as I lost both Sierra and Guri. Let me get out of the way. Get out of the way! There he goes. Alright, so we got Guri back. Not that that is going to help us much, but I will take what I can get. And now we have Sierra back. So that's kind of what I mean. If your companions do die, and you wait long enough, they will resurrect automatically. I really do lament the fact
he's just going to die to that.
Yeah.
That fire breath also sets you on fire. I don't think it can actually kill you by itself. It'll always just leave you at 1.
Yeah. But we still managed to pull it out, and Draconis is down. You get absolutely no experience or anything from defeating any of the storyline bosses. not Draconis and not Irwin, and I don't remember what the name of the boss is for the Jumi storyline. But essentially, we've defeated Draconis. We have saved all of the dragons, and you're going to be able to see the end of the storyline because, again, like we said, this is not the end of the game. This is only the end of the dragon storyline. There is still more game to go through. This is just one of the requirements that has to be met in order to unlock the final dungeon. This is also one of the only, I think it's the only storyline where there is some actual mashing needed to get through the dialogue. I don't know why. It might just be a little messed up, but that's okay. But essentially the gist is, so you have Vidisa's spirit there in the background, and she stops Sierra from helping Lark up. And Lark is basically cursed because of Draconis' blood at this point, and anybody who even touches Lark will be confined to the underworld for 1,000 years because of his tie to his dragon. And Sierra, of course, is not happy about this, and she's like, oh, you know, you always try to take on everything yourself, and I want to help you, but there really is nothing that, there's nothing that she can do. So Lark tells her to go back to the forest and take care of things. But he does promise to her that he will do his best to find a way to break the curse so that he can come up to the surface and be with her again.
This is not exactly a happy ending.
But at least because Draconis is dead and the souls are released, all of the dragons come back. So Archivator, Jajara, and Vidis all resurrected. Even the jerkbirds resurrected. I always found it weird that they make their same entrance. I mean, Archivator's entrance is pretty quick. He just flies in. But Jajara has to crash through the ceiling again. They also, of course, return all of the Monostone energy back to the Monostones, setting everything right. And few knew of the brother and sister torn apart by constant warfare. And then... suddenly, Lark. I always found that really odd, because you don't actually know how much time passes. So, like, I doubt it's 1,000 years, to be honest. But however long it takes, Lark apparently breaks the curse and he gets to go back to Sierra. So I think out of the 3 storylines, this is actually the one with the good ending. Not good as in, like, awesome, heck yes, is really cool, but as in the happier ending. So I'm gonna put down some more artifacts because they need to be there, not because I need to go into them. That desert, again, it absolutely matters where you put it because you cannot put it too close to water. I mean, it's a desert, right? And we're gonna go on.
Can't be touching water, like...
I think it has to be 2 spots away from any of the water.
Yeah.
But we're going to go on a little side quest just to pick up the last of the artifacts that we need to complete our map. And we're going to introduce you very temporarily to the penguin pirate and his girlfriend. So we have Valerie and David. David is a penguin pirate. If you play this game casually, the penguin pirates are fantastic.
And we could have accessed this like far earlier, I believe, but there's not really any reason to.
Yeah, essentially it's like, what side quest can I do to get the artifacts that I need really quick at this point? Also, those crabs that you saw on the last screen, not these that I'm fighting, but the ones that were on the last screen, you can actually step on them and crush them. I'm going to try to do that to as few crabs as possible because it takes some time every time you step on them. But the penguin pirates are great. They are extremely punny, which I love. You do actually encounter them in the fairy storyline, so you get to see a little bit of their punniness. But I think outside of that and the all events, of course, you don't really get to see too much of the penguin pirates. Oh, that's one crab, two crabs. Crabs, get out of the way! But yeah, this is one of my favorite dungeon tracks in the game. Excuse me. You're also going to be treated, if you've played Trials of Mana, the boss at the end of this dungeon is actually a Trials of Mana boss. Okay, can we stop missing the flying bats, please?
They're basically birds, so they're jerks.
Agreed. Yes, we're gonna try to save as many crab frames as possible, chat. Because there are still 2 more rooms of crabs to go through. They are a little easier to go through, though. Technically, there is actually, I think, an event that unlocks depending on how many crabs you step on. So, yeah. Here, though, we're not trying to unlock anything else. So we're gonna try, again, to step on as few crabs as possible. And we did make it through that room without stepping on any of the crabs. Except for these, because these are not the cool crabs. These are the mean crabs.
Someone in chat pointing out, yes, this is the same composer as Kingdom Hearts.
And a heck of a lot of other stuff too.
And
Shimomura is
stuff.
incredible. Alright, we only stepped on 2 crabs, we're good. But here, for those of you who did play Trials of Mana, we have Full Metal Hugger for you.
Awfully late in the game to be fighting Full Metal Hugger.
I know. That's okay though. And he acts exactly the same way unless you one-cycle him, where he'll lose his eyes, become a little bit invincible for a time. There you go. It is possible to one-cycle him though. And that's the end of Full Metal Hugger. Much easier fight than in SD3, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like literally the first boss fight in SD3. Or in Trials of Mana, it is not an easy first boss fight.
Nope, especially if you don't understand how the mechanics in the Super Famicom version work.
Or
it's
if
rough.
you didn't buy any healing items in the Super Famicom version. At all.
But we get a little end to our penguin pirate story, and Valerie's like, no, I don't really have an egg, I was just thinking about the future, and she tells her boyfriend, just go back to your ship, it'll be fine. And of course David vows to come back to his love, but it turns out that Valerie really does have an egg, and she thinks it's best if she just takes care of it. And so ends our sad tale of the penguin lovers. They're very cute.
We have one more side quest before the final Sword of Mana bit.
And we're going to put down the last of the artifacts here, and then we're going to return to the home base. So yeah, as Syl said, one more kind of side quest. This essentially is 100% necessary to unlock the Sword of Mana. And we're going to do a little speed run finagling to make it happen. So we're going to go into the home base, go out of the home base, and then go back into the home base to activate the event. But it would not be possible if all of the artifacts were not put down on the map.
I'm not actually sure why this works. I just know that this is how it's done.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why either. I know there are some Mana speedrunning community members in the chat, so if they can help us out with that, that would be great. But basically, we find a Sproutling has passed away, and we find Little Cactus. This is really kind of the only time we get to speak with Little Cactus in the entire run, which is a shame because Little Cactus is super cute. And we find out that all plants are part of the Mana tree. And Little Cactus gets very excited and runs off. Technically, this also starts a quest that a lot of people do towards the beginning of the game, which is the little sorcerers in the pumpkin patch over in Domina. But we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to go after Little Cactus. If this Sproutling will get out of my way, thank you. So chat says, Cerberon specifically, when you place the final artifact, you need to update the world map by passing a day, thus entering and exiting. Thank you, Cerberon.
Oh, that makes sense. I figured it had something to do with time passing.
Yeah. So this is Pokio. We don't really see him in this storyline. He's like, hey, I'm going to go talk to that weird circle thing in there. Do you want to join me? And the answer is no, because it takes up time. But Nunazak, that circle mosaic in there, has kidnapped the Sproutling, and we're gonna go rescue it so that it can go become part of the Mana tree. I hate these spiny caps. They are the bane of my existence. You fight a lot more of the spiny caps in some of the other storylines. Thank goodness, not as much here.
Yeah, we only have what, like two rooms with fights or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, the spiny caps, basically any flying creature or any creature that moves around really, really quickly is kind of a frustrating encounter.
Yeah, it's like a quick, erratic movement that just makes, and like your sword animations are kind of slow.
Yeah.
And we want to save the special technique for this screen.
Yeah, because those little guys will bounce around a lot too. And we have one more set of spiny caps here. So this is kind of what I mean by knowing when it's better to use the power cancels and when it's better to use the jump cancels. Anything that tends to move around a lot, it's better to try to stun lock them with the power cancels rather than the jump cancels. And this is the last time we will have to wait for Guri to waddle across the screen.
Yep.
But we found the Sproutling. The Sproutling is going to give us the Sword of Mana, and we'll be able to go into the final dungeon, because the Sproutling's like, hey, I need to go heal the Mana tree's wounds. Here, take this sword, and go do the thing. So, the Mana tree, again, because we talked about this a little bit earlier, it's going to be placed pretty close to the home base because we don't want the monsters to be ridiculously OP.
Yep. Yeah, the distance to home base scaling even affects like the final dungeon. It's still gonna be fairly tough because that's not the only scaling factor for enemy strength, but by putting it closer and by having it set up that we can put it closer, we're making it substantially easier.
Yeah, I know in Fairy, it's literally placed right next to the home base. So I don't think it affects the Monarch Goddess's HP, but it does affect the HP and whatnot of the monsters along the way up to the tree. So we're going to encounter Pokial again really quickly. He's going to welcome us to the Sanctuary of Mana, and then we're going to climb the tree. So this is probably a good time for some donations as I climb this big, big tree.
Absolutely. I have a $5 donation from Samwise. They say, shout out to all the GDQ organizers and staff for all you do. It's so wonderful that video games can have such a positive impact on the world. Looking forward to a great week of runs. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Samwise. We also have a $15 donation from Rainy J that says, oh yeah, let's go. Let's go indeed. It's been a lot of fun so far. We have a $50 donation from Jesse Magus. They don't leave any comment, but again, thank you so much. And I have a $10 donation from The Whipped Crew. We're dancing up a storm tonight while a literal storm is going on outside. But we had to watch Fleet Fatales this evening too. Keep it up, girls. Thank you so much, The Whipped Crew. And yeah, that storm is going nuts out there, huh?
Yeah, stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Stay inside if you can. Stay safe. It's very, very, very windy in a lot of places. I have a $25 donation from Durek that has just the classic GDQ comment of orb.
Orb.
Orb. Had to be an orb. Thank you.
And I have a donation from Mithra was taken. Hi, Mithra, for $250. And they say, ooh. Thank you so much for the ooh salute.
Ooh.
Ooh. And we have a $100 donation from Nori. I am a Mana Discerning Tastes. For more legendary RPG speedruns, follow RPGC. Great to see your run, not Dragon, RPGC, and good luck on the remainder. The Adventure Society is rooting for you. Hoard all those delicious EXP candies.
Thank you so much. I love it.
High quality pun there.
Heck yeah.
Truly a 10 out of 10.
XP crystals out of 10. We still have a little bit of time if you have maybe like 2 more, 3 more.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a $100 donation from Anonymous. They say, great cause. Glad to be able to support such a wonderful organization. Let's do it, everyone. And we've got this. Speaking of, we still have our donation bids open for Kill versus Save. And I am checking on that right now to see where we are at. We are at still the same, $240 for Save, $553 for Kill. If you want to see Save, get those donations in for that, and Kill for that. We're going to have a face-off between Kill versus Save.
All right, so we are up in the very top Sanctuary of Mana here. There are just a couple of platforms to go through, but I can at least take a little bit of time and tell you kind of what's going to happen when we get to the Mana Goddess in a couple of screens. So the Mana Goddess is almost kind of like Sierra in a way, where she is very OP, but she's very counter-attackable. Counter-strikeable, and we're going to be basically using Counter-Strike for the majority of the Mana Goddess fight. And I'm also going to pray that Guri doesn't randomly knock her back when I don't want Guri to knock her out of the way. Guri can sometimes be a little bit more detrimental than helpful in that fight, because it is almost impossible to utilize his attack boost in that fight. The Mana Goddess will cast a bunch of different STs, and when you will see like a moon becoming eclipsed in the middle of the screen, when the moon becomes eclipsed, she uses her most OP attack, which is very hard to live through. But like I said, the good thing is if we die to the Mana Goddess, we can just restart the fight. Unfortunately, we do have to read through her dialogue a second time, but this will be the last fight before the Mana Goddess. I'm going to hope the Tomato Man does not try to eat my head, and there it goes. I couldn't get through without the Tomato Man trying to bite my head. That was for the fans, I guess.
Yeah, this is almost like the sole reason that like Counter-Strike is just so desperately required. Like, it's really important for the Sierra fights too, but like I think we use it more in this fight than at any other point in the game.
Yeah, it's also sometimes a little difficult to line up with the goddess properly so that we can actually hit her. And that's one of the reasons Guri becomes very, very detrimental in this particular fight sometimes.
You know, and I always feel like in JRPGs, like, you know, more powerful enemies are bigger, but then when you fight someone that's like the same sprite size as you, that's especially ominous.
So I'm gonna try to counter her ST here. At least I get the iframes from it.
We got the iframes, didn't get the damage.
I got the second hit.
No, we did get the damage. Okay, we got the second hit. I forgot how delayed it was.
Yeah, and here's where I'm talking about trying to be lined up with her properly to counterattack, and I'm also really getting low on health. Which is not a good thing.
Well, at least Guri's out of the way.
Heck, yeah, but so am I.
Oh no.
And we're almost at eclipse time, so I might have to redo this fight.
Yeah, if the fight takes too long, then
Yeah, that was very unlucky. Because it is extremely difficult to dodge that attack. So this might be rip. God.
we're not dead.
Guri, get out of the way. Okay, that's time.
Gosh, I was holding my breath so badly there. That is time.
Yeah, that is time. Oh my gosh. This is what I'm talking about, Guri getting in the way. But it's okay, we did it. We saved the planet.
I swear I wasn't panicking there.
No, I totally wasn't panicking either. Oh gosh.
GG.
Thank you. That was definitely a nail biter there.
It really was.
I want to give a humongous shout out to the Legend of Mana community for speedrunning, because let me tell you, they are a fantastic bunch. They have been super duper helpful in anything I had questions about, in anything I needed to know. They've helped me with commentary in the past. They're just a super chill bunch. If you're interested in learning this run, because as far as I know, I am the only one who identifies as female that actually runs this game at all, which makes me kind of sad. And I would love to have some more people who are femme-leaning or identify as female join me. And there are guides on speedrun.com for each of the 3 main storylines. There is also a guide for the all storylines run, and if you are really into long runs, you can always ask for the guide for the all events run as well. And they're really good guides. They come with pictures. They're very useful. And they're just really, really cool. And I love this game. You get to hear the good music all the time. And it's a lot of fun. And thank you, of course, GDQ and Fleet Fatales for allowing me to do this run. Thank you again, Syl, for helping me out with commentary. It was extremely appreciated.
I'm glad you had me here. And yeah, I don't actually run the game. I just know it pretty well, but it is a game that is dear to me. So thank you for having me on. Question chat what language the Song of Mana is in. I believe it's Swedish.
I think it's Dutch. It's either Swedish or Dutch.
Chat is saying Finnish, so
okay.
I was wrong too. I don't know. Now I'm not sure. I'm gonna just go look it up. I thought it was Swedish.
I think you're right. I think it is Swedish. I don't know why I keep thinking Dutch. If you, I don't know if we're gonna be able to allow the whole thing to run. It's kind of a lengthy song, but if you've never heard it before, go to YouTube and listen to it because it's a really good song.
It is in fact Swedish. Okay, I wasn't wrong. I just couldn't remember for certain. We actually have it seems like our call from the production is that we are going to get to let the Song of Mana run. So
oh heck yeah!
Let's enjoy this.
Yeah, please enjoy, chat. It's so good.
I do believe this is the last run of the night.
Well, I mean, I'm Pacific time, so it's still early for me.
People are trying to convince me to play this game that has dragons in it, and look.
So, it's got dragons in it.
It's got a cute, fluffy dragon in it.
It has a cute fluffy dragon.
It's also at least a short run. It's less. I mean, PB world record I think is 1 hour 30 something.
I don't want to talk over the song too much.
I know. Okay, the lyrics part is over at least. We can probably talk safely again.
Yeah, unfortunately, they haven't remade this game yet. I really would like it if they did, if they gave this like the treatment they did with Trials of Mana, where they kind of like took the core gameplay and kind of gave it a lot of more modern game design quality of life in terms of like giving the player direction and communicating the game systems.
I have thoughts on that, but Chad, if you like this game, I'll be learning Jumi % this week, so...
I really like the Jumi storyline, so...
I don't remember most of it anymore, but I'm excited.
Alright, well, I won't say anything.
But yeah, thanks again, everybody. I'm really glad we got to play the song for you.
That was such a wonderful run and a absolute beautiful game. Thank you so much for that run and good game. It was amazing. We do have a few donations. I've got a $25 donation from Crimson Kestrel. They say, my wife and I love GDQ's events. We watch every one and always try to donate for a good cause. When we saw this event, we were excited for a focus on a group of speedrunners that is growing and is bringing some fresh ideas and skills to the community. Plus, it was something to really look forward to in 2020. We're also happy to donate towards something that is so important. Can't wait to watch all the runs. Good luck to the runners. Thank you so much, Crimson Kestrel. I super appreciate it. We also have a $100 anonymous donation. They don't leave a comment, but again, thank you so much. All donations are benefiting Malala Fund, and it is incredibly appreciated. And with that, thank you so much to everyone watching for joining us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for more Fleet Fatales at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whatever time it might be where you are. Thank you again and have a fantastic rest of your time.